here's the problem facing Michigan. I lived in Michigan for 8 years, went to law school there, met my girlfriend there. It's a great state, has a lot of great cities, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Lansing. But the reality of the matter is that the voters royally screwed up by electing Rick Snyder to governor. You know, I worked for Lansing Mayor Verge Bernero for 8 or 9 months, worked in his office, saw the kind of job he did in Lansing, and I knew the kind of job he would have done in Michigan. But you know what? The UAW, the unions, the SEIU, they just didn't do their work. They did not come through for Verge. They didn't, get their people to the polls. The working class fell asleep. They thought that, there was going to be enough votes for Granholm. They thought there was going to be enough votes for Verge. And this guy got elected, and quite frankly, he's a complete and utter failure. The reality of the matter is that what Republicans do, now we got a Republican coming in here in Kentucky, and they're not going to spend money on the roads. They're not going to spend money on the schools. Teachers are going to go hungry. Children aren't going to get educated because all they're about is saving money. And what did Rick Snyder do now that finally the whole world, it's not just Michigan, it's not just the United States, but the whole world, I mean, even the United Nations has heard winds of the lead in Flint water and how these kids are drinking this stuff and how they're going to have health ramifications for the rest of their life. And what did Rick Snyder do? He went to President Barack Obama and asked that a natural emergency be declared, and the president did that. But he also asked for an emergency declaration, something that Obama would not do. Why? Because an emergency declaration would have freed up more federal money to Rick Snyder. But it's, I have to understand why he's not doing this. It's because Rick Snyder is under pressure right now to release internal communications. The government wants to know whether or not Rick Snyder knew what was going on and did nothing about it. The people of Michigan have the right to know, but because of the weird laws in Michigan, Rick Snyder is not going to hand over those documents. Even in the face of the Freedom of Information Act, he is not by law required to release the specifics of those internal sort of email communications. So to me, honestly, I believe that Rick Snyder's administration was complicit. I believe they knew. I believe that they had the information. I believe they knew the complaints. And I believe, like any typical Republican administration that is just fixated on shrinking the state apparatus and fixated on limiting government programs and fixated on trimming the fat, chose not to do anything about it. You know why? Because a little bit of lead isn't so bad. You know what I mean? Just like a little bit of, fluoride isn't so bad. Just like a little extra ammonia isn't so bad. It doesn't really matter. People aren't going to grow a third eye or a second nose. This is just liberal hogwash. But now, when the children are actually getting sick, when families are getting sick, when it's not something that a little over-the-counter antibiotic can cure, where these people are going to have lifelong issues, if not just drop dead right then and there, now the Republicans are like, oh, Mr. Obama, big federal government, please help us. You know what I mean? And they did. But they're not going to declare an emergency until Rick Snyder hands over those internal emails. If he does that in a true era of transparency, then I truly believe that President Obama will make an emergency declaration and free up more federal money. But until then, Governor Snyder, you have to release those emails and quit hiding behind Michigan law.